Namaste, everyone. ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Tuesday evening. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing phenomenal. Hope wonderful things are happening in your life. I just finished having a delicious Indian dinner at home. What's up, Scott? Long time, man. Namaste. Hope you're doing well. Olga, Namaste. Hello. Karina, Namaste. Good to have you on, as always. Just finished an Indian dinner. Meg, you've been consistent and persistent, girl. You're on all the time. Monica, Namaste. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the party. Welcome to our Tuesday night conversation. And the reason it's a conversation is I talk on my end, you guys type in the comments on your end, and we go back and forth. And as I was saying, I just finished a delicious Indian dinner. My body is very full, very satiated, very content. It was very good. But as always, you know, we're doing these live streams each and every day, talking about energy healing, meditation, practical spirituality, things that can move our lives forward super, super fast. And I was thinking about, this topic actually came to me when I was getting out of the shower this evening. So when I'm done working with clients for the day, I take a salt bath. Why do I take a salt bath? Because it cleanses my energy body. It cleanses negative thoughts, negative emotions, disconnects cords, and it keeps me energetically healthy and clean, which is very, very important considering the work that I do. It's kind of hard to be an energy healer and to effectively heal people if you're full of disease, congested energy. Sharada, Namaste. Dvan, Namaste. Welcome. And so my question for you guys tonight, or for our topic, is the emotions that you're feeling throughout the day may not even be your own. And what do I mean by that? Have you ever had a time throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, where you wake up at a normal time, you have breakfast in a normal way, you drive the same normal way to work, you interact with the same people, but all of a sudden you're overwhelmed with a certain negative feeling. Maybe you're overwhelmed with despair, or overwhelmed with hopelessness, or depression, or anger. And you're, Namaste, and you're wondering to yourself, where did this come from? And then you start meditating on that negative emotion. You start meditating on the anger, meditating on the depression, meditating on the sadness, meditating on the confusion. Paula, Namaste. Getting back to you. No chat for today. The body is the body is full, but I gotta fulfill my commitment to you guys. But we will chat. So you meditate on that very thing. Fulgunni, Namaste, long time. So you meditate on that thing, and then over a period of a few hours or a couple days, you begin to identify with the negative thoughts and negative emotions that you're experiencing, and you're going, like, you no longer differentiate between where you are, what you're feeling, and the thing that you're feeling. You identify with that, meaning you start going from feeling an emotion of depression or feeling an emotion of anger to actually, I am angry or I am depressed. You become identified and associated with that. And I would encourage you to practice discernment. And what does discernment mean? Discernment means to judge something correctly. And that is a lifetime practice. Amanda, Namaste, that's a lifetime practice. Discernment, to judge something correctly. And Buddhism talks a lot about it. Discernment's also in the Christian faith, but it's not discussed as methodically as it's discussed about in Buddhism. So in Buddhism, the major tenets are the Eightfold Path of Buddhism and the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. And the first of the Eightfold Path, the first step of the eight steps, is called right viewpoint. And in pranic healing, we would call that accurate perception. So going back to our example of you feel a certain feeling that's overwhelming you, have you ever stopped to ask the question, is this feeling coming from me or is it coming from someone else? And you're like, well, how does that work? Would you agree that we are literally swimming in an ocean of energy? Meaning, if you go to the downtown area of your city, if you live in a big city, you go down there, would you say that the energy is different? The quantity and quality of the energy is different in a downtown metropolitan area versus going into the forest, or going into a desert area, or going into a rainforest area? Would you say that, or a mountainous area, where I am in Denver, Colorado, would you say that the energy is different? The quality and quantity of the energy is different? Yes, right? So, living in a major city, many people are having many thoughts and many feelings, and everybody is swimming in that energy. And that energy can, for lack of a better way of saying, latch on to us and influence us. Does that make sense? It can influence us. It can influence us positively, or it can influence us negatively. Positively, you probably have a friend or family member that whenever you're in a bind, whenever you need a shoulder to cry on, whenever you need a sounding board, whenever you need to release psychic energy, meaning mental and emotional energy, you contact this person, you pour out your heart for 30 minutes, and then guess what? You feel lighter, you feel happier, you feel more still, because you're releasing some of that congestion to your friend or your family member. They're absorbing some of it, transmuting some of it, and they were like your psychic garbage can. Now, on the negative side, you have people in your life who come to you who everything is a crisis, everything is a problem, everything is the end of the world is coming soon, right? And then how do you feel after 15 or 30 minutes of interacting with that person? You feel drained, you feel depleted, you feel exhausted, you feel like, what is going on here, right? So that's an example of us connecting to each other. Now, this isn't a right or wrong thing. It's simply being aware of energy, because we are all connected to each other spiritually, meaning spiritually we are one. Physically, we're separate. I'm sitting here in my apartment in Denver, Colorado, and then you're sitting in your apartment, your home, your car, your yoga studio, wherever you're watching this live stream or watching the replay. So physically, we're separate. But emotionally, we're more connected than we are separate. Mentally, we're even more connected than we are separate. And then spiritually, we are one. The analogy that one of the masters in pranic healing likes to use is ice cubes. So physically, you have ice cubes, one ice cube here, one ice cube here. Physically, they're separate. Then guess what happens when they melt? They melt, and then the water merges between the two ice cubes, and the two ice cubes become one. Then when the ice cubes evaporate into the atmosphere, you can no longer make the distinction between the ice cube or the water molecules and the atmosphere. It's become one. So that's how we are, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Spiritually, we are one. So what is this all about? I noticed today specifically that I was having a lot of heaviness, a lot of sadness, a lot of despair, which isn't like me. I typically don't have those thoughts and feelings and energies throughout the day, especially when we're doing healings, we're helping people, we're uplifting people, we're coaching people, we're helping them move their lives forward. So there's a lot of good energy. But there was this underlying theme of heaviness and despair and depressiveness. And I couldn't put my finger on it. I have an idea of who it might be, or a couple people who it might be. So how do we discern? How do we judge correctly if the emotions that we're feeling are ours, or the emotions we're feeling are the other people in our lives? Pranic healing, Jeanette, I'm going to say Pranic Healing 101. So pranic healing is an energy healing modality I've been practicing professionally for 15 years, who was taught to me by my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Koksui, the modern founder of pranic healing and Arhatic yoga. And in the first class, you're taught this technique on how to cut cords, how to cut the connection between you and another person. And that gives you the ability to practice discernment. So, very simple. You imagine your hand as a knife, as a luminous blade, like the sun, right? Your hand is super, super bright like the sun, and it's very sharp like a blade. And then you imagine any and all cords that are draining you, you cut them. So you just imagine a little cord coming from you to somewhere out there, right? That could be draining you or depleting you or what have you, right? And you simply go cut from the front part of your body, of the top, to the bottom part of your front body. Does that make sense? And you just do it 3 times. Not with a lot of will, not with super strong intention or intensity, but just cut, cut, cut. Then be still. Do you still have the same feeling of the anger, of the sadness, of the depression, of the despair, of the hopelessness that you had earlier? And if the answer is no, then you just found out something. You found out that the feeling you are feeling is not your feelings. The feelings you are feeling are the feelings of someone else who is attaching to you energetically. Does that make sense? Is that clear? So that's a very, very important technique to do. It's very simple. Hey, Emily, up and namaste. The technique is very simple, it's very profound, and it's very effective. It will help you practice discernment. And like I said earlier, the practice of discernment is a lifelong habit. You don't just wake up one day and you have complete accurate perception and correct expression in all areas of life, right? Because if that were the case, we would be some kind of avatar or great being, and we would be free from the wheel of karma, right? Which is not the case. Sarah, Abba Namaste. We have a physical body, we have an emotional body, and we have a mental body. So that means we have lessons and experiences on all of those planes. Olga, you're welcome for the tidbit. I like the word tidbit. Tidbit's very small. It's a very cute, chunky word. Tidbit. Isn't there like a dog food named Tidbits? Tidbit? Kibbles? Kibbles and Bits. That's what I'm thinking of. Kibbles and Bits. Anyways, I like Kibbles and Bits and I like Tidbit. I like the little bit. So that's a very simple, very powerful, very effective tool that you have in your arsenal that you can do to separate and disconnect yourself from draining people, draining situations. Now, if you want to take it many steps higher, yes, kibbles, exactly. And I like the word kibble, and I like the word nugget. They should have a product like called Kibbles and Nugget Tidbits. Kibbles and Nugget Tidbits. I like that. So if you take pranic healing, and there are over 20 different classes in pranic healing, but if you start with level 1 pranic healing, you will learn many tools to help keep you energetically clean, your environment energetically clean, and then how to energetically clean the people in your lives that you interact with, whether they're friends, family members, co-workers. Because I'm a big believer is if you change the energy, if you change your energy, you change your life. Huge believer. You change your energy, you change your life. People spend so much time trying to change the external world to alleviate their suffering, and they spend almost zero time changing their inner life. Master Cho Koksui has a quote that I love. He says, "It is easier to wear sandals than it is to flatten all the rough edges of the earth." It is easier to wear sandals than it is to flatten all the rough edges of the earth, right? And that's what a lot of us try to do when we're frustrated, when we're feeling hopeless. We want the world to change in order for it to benefit our mental and emotional states. If only my spouse or my girlfriend or my boyfriend was more loving to me, then I would be happy. If only I had a partner, then I would be happy. If my boss at work wasn't so bossy and wasn't so demanding, my work life would be so much better, right? All of these different things. So we're trying to change the boss, change the girlfriend, the boyfriend, change the spouse, get a spouse in order to improve our level of happiness and joy. Well, it's much, much, much easier and it's much more effective to change the inner world, to change how we think, to change how we feel, and to change how we act. Because I'm going to do a spoiler alert for each and every one of you. The only thing you can control in life is what you think, is what you say, and is what you do. Outside of you, you can influence others, but you cannot control others. And if you want to read a really good book on that, on how you're responsible for you and no one else, read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Man's Search for Meaning. There's a book has sold over 12 million copies since the early 1950s and been reprinted many, many times. And it's basically the story of a psychiatrist who survived 3.5 years in 4 different concentration camps and witnessed the most horrific things done to humanity. And he was able to find meaning and find purpose in his life in spite of the external hopelessness. A beautiful book. And from that experience, he founded what is known as logotherapy. Logotherapy, or the therapy of meaning. Finding meaning in things. And the reason people become hopeless, the reason people have despair in their lives, is because from this methodology, they lack meaning. They lack a why to live. And interestingly enough, connecting it to the chakra system, the Ajna chakra deals with why. Why you do what you do and why you don't do what you do, Ajna chakra. This chakra is connected to your higher soul. Very powerful. But very few people operate from here solely. Most of the time we're operating from our lower will. Higher will, we're operating from our lower will, our lower negative emotions. And if you want to manipulate the masses, manipulate them emotionally. Right? If I want to get you to do something, as a person who's part of the masses, I'll make you angry, I'll make you scared, I'll make you doubtful, I'll make you lusting, I'll make you full of greed, and that's how you can control people. Generally speaking, that's how you can control the masses, is by manipulating them emotionally. But people who have discernment, people who operate from their higher will, people who operate from the Ajna chakra, they're able to understand situations without emotion. This, no emotion. You look at something very icy and very cold. Now, a lot of people don't like that, right? Because you're like, wait a minute. Why should I be looking at something icy and cold? Shouldn't I feel good about the decision that I'm making? Can your feelings blind you? If I get you super, super, super excited about something, jacked up out of your mind, super excited, super enthusiastic about something, and then is it possible you make a bad decision with that? Or I make you very afraid about something, and then I get you to make a decision based on that. Is that a good thing to do? Probably not. But if the ajna is strong, you can look at something clearly and go, here's the pros, here's the cons, here's the time factor, here's all the different viewpoints. Okay, my decision is this. But you need the heart too. Yes, the heart The heart is very important because, as we know, it's called the wisdom of the heart. But very few people have developed their heart enough to be able to consciously access that wisdom because they're not still. So if you're still, physically still, emotionally still, mentally still, and you have awareness, you can access that wisdom from the heart and access the wisdom from the soul. But guess what? When you're constantly agitated, angry, fearful, doubtful, stressed out, you have no awareness, no stillness, and you don't know your own wisdom. So what do? We reach out to leaders. We reach out to anyone who is loud enough and bold enough, and we listen to that person. Whether that person is right, wrong, doesn't matter. Because we're being led by how we feel versus being led by the soul, being led by the right thing. And keep in mind, this is an ongoing process. What's up, Sean? It's an ongoing process. But the process is completely and utterly worth it. This, in 2 months, no, let me take that back. This coming June will be my 20th year meditating regularly. Not haphazardly, but 20 years meditating regularly. And I can say that every moment of time that I've sat down on my meditation cushion, my meditation chair, whether at my place or on retreat or out with friends, every time I've sat down and I've done my meditation practice, it has been priceless. Because it helps the soul grow, it helps the soul evolve, it helps to introduce more light into my life. Now, in the process of introducing more light, it's going to be pushing out a lot of the darkness, a lot of the ignorance, a lot of the pain, and not so good things within our lives. But that's part of the process of growing and evolving, right? Nobody becomes a saint by accident. It's a process. So my encouragement to each and every one of you watching the live stream or watching the replay is your time will be better invested sitting down and meditating, sitting down and being still and practicing awareness of what you're thinking and awareness of what you're feeling than anything else that you can be doing in the external world. Because as my teacher, Grandmaster Cho Koksui says, without awareness, there is no inner transformation. And each and every person on this planet craves inner transformation, to go from where they are to where they want to be. And the reason we stay stuck, the reason we don't move our lives forward 5, 10, 15, 20 years is because we lack awareness. Very important to have awareness. It's essential. How many of us have talked about losing weight? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to lose weight. It's the right thing to do. Ajna Chakra. It's the right thing to do. Another year goes by. Same weight. Another year goes by. Same weight. Another year goes by. Same weight. Why? Lack of awareness. The person is not aware of the thoughts, the feelings, the beliefs, and the programs that are controlling them and keeping them stuck where they are in their life. And that applies to any and all areas. Health, relationships, career, money, spiritual development, doesn't matter. That's what makes pranic healing, in my experience, that's what makes pranic healing and Hatha Yoga so beautiful, because it helps you develop awareness and understanding by giving you healing tools and meditation tools to improve those areas of your life. So what would take you years to uncover years to be aware of, you can start being aware of those things within a few months. It's very powerful. Very, very powerful. So, that being said, if I can help you gain more awareness in your life, definitely go to ChristianRLong.com/services. Always promoting, always getting the message out there of healing. I had a client of mine who we haven't done one-on-one healings with each other. He purchased a program I did on love, which I highly recommend picking up. It's like $40 or something. If you want to know about it, I don't have it posted anywhere, but if you want to know about it, message me on Facebook. It's a 3-hour video on love. It's really, really good. I was like, wow, this came out way better than I thought. Anyways, so he did that program, and then he's on the streams occasionally. And I was messaging him yesterday, and he's like, oh, I'd love to do healing with you, but I'm waiting for the time to be right. And relating this to my own life experience, working with the master pranic healers and the senior practitioners, the best time to get healing is now. Always. The best time to have awareness is now. The best time to have wisdom is now. The best time to have understanding is now. The best time to move your life forward is now. There's a Chinese proverb, if you will, that says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. Right? So when people put off something as important as healing, Jillian, Namaste. Hopefully you'll watch the replay. Richard, Namaste. Hopefully you'll also watch the replay and get some value out of today's talk. But the best time to get healing is now. It's not in a week, it's not in a month, it's not in 6 months, it's not in 12 months, it's not in 5 years, it's not when the time is right. It's now. Because basically what you're saying is, I want to stay stuck just a little longer. I want to stay in the darkness just a little longer. I want to stay ignorant, because ignorant means not knowing. I want to stay ignorant just a little bit longer so I can keep suffering. And that's not clear thinking. That's lack of awareness. Does that make sense? And believe me, I'm the poster boy of fighting healings. When I was going through a very, very difficult time in my life, 9 years ago, I was going through a very, very, very difficult time. Unimaginably difficult. I didn't know a human being could suffer as much as I was suffering at that time in my life. And what do you think I did during those times? Do you think I reached out for healing on a regular basis to the pranic healing community that I'm part of? Did I say, hey guys, I need healing. I'm just having a very difficult time right now. Do you think I reached out for healing? Nope. Sure didn't. People literally had to force healing on me. Over that time of about 3 years, I rarely ever asked for healing, which means I wasn't receptive, which means I was lacking awareness, which means I was in negative pride, because negative pride is covering up or shielding low self-esteem, low self-image, low self-worth, right? So whenever people don't reach out for healing, it's because of negative pride. I remember I was doing a healing on somebody. When was this? I was doing a healing on 2 people, and they were actually a couple, and they separated. They individually came in for healing, and then they got back together as a couple. And they both said to me, why did I wait a year to get healing? Right? Why did I wait a year to get healing? If they got the healing a year earlier, the trajectory of their life would have dramatically changed. Yeah, Amanda, what's going on? Namaste, fellow Arhatic Yogini. Right? So if they got a healing a year ago, the trajectory of their lives would have changed dramatically, and their suffering would have been minimized. But what happens? When do we get healing? And when do we go... when do we get healing, and when do we go on the spiritual path? When we hit a crisis in our lives. Right? We hit a crisis, we have a breakup, we have a death, we have a severe disease or sickness, right? That's when we get into healing in the spiritual path. Because of negative pride. I was practically living out on the streets and I wouldn't ask for healing. How's that for negative pride, right? And I don't say this for pity. I don't say this for sympathy or anything. I'm saying it to give you an example of where I was at that time in my life and why I wasn't moving forward. Hope I'm going to see you at Mawa. You certainly are. I like how you call it my Mawa. That's pretty bold. Yes, I will be at Mawa and I will be in San Diego as well. Seeing all your beautiful, bright, shiny faces. So that's it, guys. That's our little talk for tonight. I hope you got value out of it. I hope you took some notes. I hope you integrate it into your life. And moving forward, we're going to be doing mini homework assignments. Because I realize when clients come to me, we do healing. I assign them homework. When they do the homework, their lives improve dramatically. And I thought, well, isn't the whole point of doing these live streams is to spread pranic healing, to spread our Hatha yoga, to inspire people to live better lives? And if you have little baby homework assignments, then that will what? That will start building community because you guys can share notes with each other. And then that will help make the things that we talk about stick and make it permanent and integrated into your life. Because, I mean, I'm all for the inspirational talk. I'm all for the entertaining talk. But if you just walk away with, yeah, it was interesting, but you don't take what you learn, apply it into your life, what was the point of learning it, right? Which you could say is traditional education. K through 12 and even college for most people. They spend all this money, all this time, and they don't have much knowledge and almost zero wisdom. Anyways, that's been my experience and my observation. Dafini, namaste. It's been a long time, girl. Hope you're doing well. And that's it, guys. So again, if you're in need of healing, if you're in need of transformation, if you're in need of awareness and understanding, go to ChristianRLong.com/services. Sign up for a distant pranic healing session to improve the quality of your life. It's 30 minutes of coaching, 30 minutes of healing. I follow up with everybody 2 days after the healing to see how they are doing for feedback so we can tweak it and continue moving you forward. So, that being said, lots of light, love, and power from God, from my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Koksui, into each and every one of your lives. May you be filled with bliss. May you be filled with joy. May you be filled with love and tenderness. May you be filled with healing in whatever kind of healing you need. So be it. Love you guys very much. This is ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful Tuesday night, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. Bye-bye.